Hi everyone, my name is Dheeraj. This is a video blog. A movie came out like a few weeks ago called Great Indian Kitchen, which really put the issue of patriarchy and issue about women's rights in marriages into the forefront. The point of this blog is not to do a review of that, but to explore some of the issues and explore some of the numbers behind some of the issues, hoping to shed some light on some of the underlying trends. So we'll take domestic work. So one big point, the amount of domestic work has gone down. Women used to spend 28 hours per week in domestic work in the 60s. That's down to 14, right? 28 to 14. Men used to spend about 4 to 5 hours per week and domestic work. That number is up to 10. But you can still see 14 to 10, there's a gap. And then if you add childcare on top of it in nuclear families, both men and women spend more time on childcare than they used to. So if you put it all together and you take dual income families, and if you work 40 hours and your husband works 40 hours, and then you add, domestic work and childcare work on both sides, that is a 10 hours gap. Women on average spend 10 hours more than men when all work is considered. So that's a problem, right? Why would and also because that work, this particular work, especially the domestic work, is unrewarding, unfulfilling, and everyone now rightfully feels like I can much better use this time for more productive things versus just doing dishes or doing laundry and stuff like that. So that's an issue. But I just want to highlight, if you have a 10-hour gap, when you move from here to here, you just throw it all over into the other direction. That didn't solve the problem. That just shifted the problem, right? So that's not going to accomplish anything. You had a problem. You just made it someone else's problem, but it still stays within the family, and it just doesn't go away. So I would say on that particular front, the issue is real. We need to reduce the work. I think it's just too much work, too much stress. So a lot of other ways to look at it in terms of use more technology, use more services, use more friends and families, or frankly even opting to do less of some of this stuff, and then trying to find a balance. The next point is I want to make is, so that's of course was the crux of the movie, and it's a real problem. I just want to say, what happens if you solve it, right? Let's say forget my futuristic solution. Let's say you take that 10 hours and split evenly 5 and 5, and now all of a sudden man and woman work about the same, paid and unpaid. Does that solve the issues we see in families and in nuclear families in general? So let me also substantiate, is there a problem in families and nuclear families? You look in the 60s, 85% of American families used to be, or 85% of households in America used to be families. That's down to 65. Nuclear families, which is two parents and 1, 2 or more children, small families, is down from 44% to 19. That's decimation. Nuclear families are down more than half. It's down to 19%. What's going to happen if another 30 years goes by and it's going to be 8%, 9%? That's the issue. So we have an issue with the number of families coming down rapidly. This has happened even in model countries, like where we often cite a nation like Sweden, right? Where domestic work share between man and woman is about the same. Gender rights are about the same. Denmark, Norway, Finland, Sweden. Take those Scandinavian countries and you would think, right, work is the same, there is no patriarchy, everything is same, but still, is it what's happening with the divorce rates? 48%. 1 in 2 marriages in even those model countries end up in a divorce. It's 40% in America. That number is rapidly increasing in India. So the point is, even if you solve that particular issue of imbalance or unfairness in household work, which is an issue that needs to be solved, I just want to say that is not going to solve the real issue, the big issue, which is the declining of nuclear families. And it's only an issue if you think nuclear families is great for the society, right? If you think it is not the right thing and people can be, single and that's okay, you don't have a problem. But if you think nuclear families are needed, and it's great, in which the numbers do prove it, right? Kids tend to do much better in nuclear families. achievement-wise, health-wise. Wealth seems to be better for nuclear families. Median household income double that of other families. Women's right also is better in nuclear families versus joint families and multi-generational families. So if you believe in all of that, we got to save that particular institution, right? It is just not going to be that, hey, it was always the case and it is going to be the case going forward. But we have a fundamental issue there. Families, the number of families in America, in Western societies, and frankly, even in Kerala and India, starting to come down. That's going in the wrong direction. We have issues with patriarchy and fairness of labor division stuff needs to be solved. But we got this big issue that needs to be solved too. So I hope I added, some context to this ongoing discussion. I know I didn't offer, solutions. This was a blog just to highlight, the real issues, put some numbers behind it, and so we can think about things, issues on its own, separate out cause and effect, and just that this doesn't lead to this. Or even in the case of domestic work, like moving work from one point to another point doesn't solve the problem. So we have to look at problems for what it is and look for solutions that are precisely designed to solve that problem, and not just throw everything into one bucket and say we got to deal with it all together. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Goodbye.